The following content is sponsored and does not necessarily reflect the views of WATD Radio. Now, Paul Ponders on 95.9 WATD. Be a part of the show. Call or text 781-837-4900. Now, here's your host, Paul Solano.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome and thanks for listening to Paul Ponders on WATD, presented by Northeastern Fence and Supply Corporation of Saugus, where they have fences for your kids, dogs, and ugly neighbors. My name is Paul Solano of the PS&L Marketing Group. This is season number 2, show number 27. Well, thank you. That live studio audience. I actually do have a studio audience today, but even more, thank you, Tim, behind the glass. But this show is happening right now live. And if you're traveling down to the Cape, if you're going out to the World Cup at Boston Stadium, whatever they're calling it these days, we may have some new listeners along the way. So I just welcome you. And for those who are returning, either listening on the Odyssey app or just listening in your car, thank you for returning back to Paul Ponders. Now, in studio with me today is an occasional co-host, Mr. Christopher Perry. Welcome back, brother.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you so much. Glad to be here as always.
Great to have you here. And we have a returning guest host who I've spoken to on the phone. I've really never met in person. And when he has been on as an occasional guest, he's been on and he's been quite articulate and quite nice. And he's Mr. Major Sean Keegan. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I hope I can live up to that introduction.
Absolutely. Well, it's the way you wrote it, so that's what. But thank you, and as always, thank you for your service. Appreciate it.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely, without a doubt. So you're the vice chair of the select board in Pembroke, and
I
also
am.
a member of a group that we're going to be hearing about in the second segment. Correct?
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you. Well, I am excited to bring you another great season with my network of very knowledgeable contributors. We will keep it real, hot and timely, South Shore and Cape and the Islands base, North Shore reference, but definitely full of Paul pondering thoughts. Today, officially, I welcome my media sponsor, Mr. Scott Albertson of Project142.org. Great to have Scott on board as media sponsor. He's just a whirlwind in marketing. He does a great job. If you haven't had a chance, tune in or log into Project142.org or check out Scott Albertson. That's Scott with one T, Albertson.com. And you could also find his dedication around the nation. And really, it's more than dedication around the nation. I believe that he has listeners on 4 continents that I know of right now, and there's probably about 5, 6, or 7. He probably has them all covered, I'm sure. So Scott Albertson, Project 142, welcome. Well, excuse me there. As you probably already know, I also wear another hat as general manager of Pearl Street Station Restaurant in Malden, and a huge shout-out goes to Chef Felipe Fitzpatrick and his culinary team. Chef Felipe is a loyal listener through the Odyssey app. So hello to Chef Felipe. And as always, we have lots of activity going on today at Pearl Street Station Restaurant with 3 functions and lots of party pans. I know I always say it, but it is true. As Malden's longest-running restaurant of 40 years, we have incredible staying power in the greater Boston area and the North Shore. Please venture over the godforsaken bridge, as my daughters say it, and visit us. Now, Chef Felipe, just a quick aside. Chef Felipe, I must say that you are so creative, and you and I had talked about all the wonderful people from Scotland who are staying at a local hotel in the Medford area, Malden Medford area, and they've been coming in. So we created this fried ice cream that has the butterscotch. Okay, for our friends from Scotland. And, you know, it actually went over very well the past 2 days, and we look forward to seeing more of our friends. And it's really quite a thing you put together. And Christopher and Major Sean, if you haven't had the fried ice cream at Pearl Street Station Restaurant, it is this incredible congealed French vanilla ice cream ball. Okay, and it's rolled in cornflakes. Okay, and it goes into our tortilla shell, this huge shell. Now, what we typically put is basically chocolate, we put raspberry, we put, all sorts of different flavors. Well, we loaded this up with butterscotch. Okay, and we drizzled some chocolate on top. And Chef Felipe, you're awesome in doing this, and it's really become quite the topic of conversation because we've had a lot of people from Scotland who have been coming through. We had some there for karaoke last night, and they just thought it was the grandest time, and it was really great.
Chef Felipe is very creative.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, he really is. And, we'll hear more about, I'll talk about the fried ice cream. So when you come up to Pearl Street Station restaurant, you'll have to have that. We'll send that over to you, okay?
Definitely.
So thank you, Chef Felipe. And, of course, I always give a shout-out to my team of Chef Felipe, Chef Joaquin, Jen, Nicole, and Don for holding down the fort on this very, very busy day. And as I stated earlier, it is season number 2, show number 27, and it is an absolute honor and pleasure to be on WATD in the slot of The Boiling Point with Arthur Boyle. Arthur is my executive consultant of the Paul Ponders radio show, and Arthur is out there adding to our list of sponsors and seasonal sponsors. And I believe the Crystal Pools will be coming with us for another season starting next week. We'll check in on that. And this is something that is near and dear to our hearts. We both know Dave Boyle, so we're going to give a shout-out. Let's not sing happy birthday. Should we?
No, we don't need to sing happy birthday, but David, happy birthday, my friend.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. So I guess he can no longer be singing that famous Beatles song, right?
Not any longer, no.
Not anymore. Okay. So happy birthday, Brother David, and maybe we will catch up with you later, okay? So thank you. And, of course, with us behind the glass is Tim Behind the Glass.
Good afternoon, Paul.
Racing in.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So what's happening, my friend?
Not much. Good racing last weekend for the Truck Series and the Cup Series. Where were they? I forget. I think they were, I don't know. Anyway, it was good racing. They're off to the Tricky Triangle this weekend in Pocono, in Pennsylvania, Pocono Raceway.
Okay.
You've got the O'Reilly Series later on today, and then tomorrow, Cup Series race is moved up 1 hour because they're looking at the weather crystal ball, and they've got some weather coming in. So instead of 2 p.m., it's going to be 1 p.m. And if you have it, or find a friend who's maybe is open to racing who has Prime Video, because that's where you can watch the race, and that's the only place you can see the race.
On Prime.
Yep, for a few races each year so far. For the next, this is the second year, 2 more. Personally, I like it. I know it's like, I got to pay more money to watch the races, but the coverage, what's nice is it's not limited. They don't say, all right, we got to end by this time because we got to go to NHRA finals at the top of the hour. Mm-hmm. They have a full hour pre-race show and a full hour post-race show, and it's really nice. They put a good product together. Very good,
very good. Well, Tim Behind the Glass, I thank you. I see your sartorial splendor today is number 3.
Yeah, Race Hell Praisdale. I'm rooting for Jesse Love, who is in the number 2 for Richard Childress Racing, which is who the number 3 is on the Cup side. Still.
Now, after listening to Duncan Gray's show about shirts and what shirts are going for these days on the internet, what do you think you'll be able to get for that number 3 shirt?
Oh, this I don't. Maybe down the road I'll be able to, but this is a new distressed-looking shirt, so it looks like I've had it a while. I've only had this a few weeks. So.
Okay. But if you autograph it as Tim Behind the Glass, I think you'll be all set.
Maybe for the local audience. Most people will be like, who's that?
Okay.
Was he on the pit box? What did he do in the car?
Okay.
Anyway, but thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Tim Behind the Glass. Well, at this point of the program, we have the Pod Pro Techie Toolbox segment with Techie Talonzo Amos and Miss Shelley Wolf, global media firm owner of Toolbox Entertainment, vice president of technology literacy for Pod Pro Entertainment, and past Paul Ponders podcast guest, episode number 35 of my 88 episodes thus far. And I welcome somewhere in Kansas City, Shelley Wolf.
How you doing, Paul? How's it going?
It's going well, thanks. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. Sitting out here in this beautiful nature has been wonderful.
That's awesome. Now, I will say that I glanced over at the screen, and with us in studio, Christopher, who you've met before via past shows, and also you've presented when Major Sean Keegan has been on. So, Shelley Wolf and Sean.
Hello.
And Christopher.
Hey, Shelley, how you doing again?
Absolutely.
Good. How are you guys doing today?
Absolutely. But as I started to say, when I glanced, I saw Kansas City. Now, isn't that area going to be impacted with a tornado, or is there a tornado watch going on right now?
There could be. But right now it's sunny, or a little overcast, I should say. Not too sunny, but it's sunny with some overcast. But beautiful birds out here singing. There are tornado warnings all the time, so, you kind of just hope for the moment and let them pass by. They do hit different cities, but right where I'm at, I think I'm pretty safe. So we'll hope for the best.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to funnel in some positive thoughts and safe travels, my friend.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Now, Shelley, as I always say, and you are a very vibrant part of the Paul Ponders program, I bump into so many people who just think you're absolutely awesome, and you are, and you really deliver some really great, helpful techie tips, and your myth of the week is so popular and all. So why don't you take it away, my friend?
Yeah, well, first I just want to start off by giving a shout to David, saying happy birthday to him. And today's topic is a request specific from my aunt and uncle here in Kansas City, my Aunt Kathy and Uncle Steve. So this is about the subscription trap. What happens and why do I still get ads and emails after I unsubscribe to things? So have you ever unsubscribed to an email list or only to have more emails and ads popping up constantly? Or maybe you had to get that app and sign up for some tickets or bought that online 6 months ago, and suddenly the ads are just popping up constantly and product is following you everywhere you go. You may even think, didn't I tell them to stop? You're not imagining things, because today's tech tip is all about unwanted ads, emails, pop-ups that just keep appearing and what you can do to regain control. Unsubscribing is one thing, but it does not mean what we think that it means. So when we click unsubscribe, you're usually stopping emails from a particular list. But here's the thing. Companies have multiple lists, sister brands that will still market to you, and your information has typically been shared with other partners. Your advertising networks track browsing behavior separately, so unsubscribing is helpful, but it isn't always the whole solution. There are also those things called cookies and that are constantly following you around through your web browser. One of the biggest reasons ads seem to follow you is something that is called those cookies, and that website reminder is what you can do is it's tracking what you've searched, what you've clicked on, what you've almost bought. That's why looking at one pair of shoes can result in seeing the same shoes for weeks. The good news is you can clear your cookies from your browsing history periodically. So now, before I give you all the steps, I want to jump into the tech myth of the week. And the tech myth of the week is if I unsubscribe once, I'll never see that company again. Well, the truth is email ads, websites, and apps all operate differently. Unsubscribing from emails does not automatically stop those online ads, tracking of cookies, or social media advertising recommendations. So what we're going to do is talk about turning off personalized ads. If you have an iPhone, you want to go into your settings, your privacy and security set, go to tracking, and turn off that button that says allow apps to request to track. If you're on an Android or using Google, you want to go into myaccount.google.com, and under that, hit your data and privacy settings, and then there's an ad settings. You can turn that off. You would deselect your turn off personalized ads, delete all your advertising interests, and review what Google thinks you like. You need to turn those off. Facebook, inside their settings, because, again, so many people click through, which, again, I will recommend do not click through to ads on Facebook because that's a big misnomer of tracking information. But inside there, you go to your ad preferences and deselect that and deselect activity off Meta technologies. You can limit ad personalization there as well. And this is not all about removing the noise, but you want to consider what browsers you're using. There's DuckDuckGo and there's Brave browser, which is a new one, which is also a good thing. That it's almost like an incognito type browser, and it's not tracking as much information. Not always secure as well as any other browser, but again, thinking about some other ones that help you. There are email helpers called Clean Email or Unroll.me. These tools can also help reduce your inbox clutter and tracking. Now, one thing I want to call out this week is I want people to really be aware of what's happening. There's one thing that is not just pop-up ads that are happening, but these unexpected invites that are starting to pop up. one of the fastest growing scams out there. There's, unwanted digital clutter that's happening, and this is really one of them that is spamming people and is becoming annoying, but also very dangerous. I, unfortunately, was myself a member of being hacked this week through an invitation. So I'm talking about these unexpected invites. So come into your email. It looks like it's personalized. Let's say it came from Paul Solano, and I know that, hey, Paul's inviting me to something, but I'm like, did he really invite me to something? Because I just talked to him, and he didn't tell me there was something coming up. But all of a sudden I have this invite, and I click through, and it's asking for all my information. And it instantly, you got to remember, don't click on it and question it, right? So what you might want to do first thing is reach out to that person, ask them, did you send me an invite? Because, again, this is the most common scam right now. And what they're also doing along with those pop-ups is it's also sending you calendar invites. It's sharing links to shared photo albums, meeting requests, group emails. Those are all suspicious, right? So just be very cognizant before you click yes, before you click through and accept, or before you respond that you're going to come to something. Again, look for suspicious links, fake package notifications. All those things right now are really hitting. It's summertime. People are preoccupied, and we instantly click thinking, oh, my cousin's graduating. I'm going to go to their graduation, right? So just be very, very careful with those. Now, again, protecting yourself, if you receive these unexpected invites, just don't click on them immediately. Also, you can scroll over the email address and see, is it really coming from that person? But I'm still a big believer. That's what I did, and it still got me. So, call that person, just verify with them. Did they really send you that invite? And remember, unexpected plus urgency really requires us to pause before we click. So my closing thought before that is technology should work for us, not constantly interrupt us. And while we can't eliminate every pop-up ad or uninvited invitation, we want to become smarter about what we deserve to see and what we want to get out of our emails and into those trash cans. Because sometimes digital wellness isn't about just adding more technology. It's about learning what to ignore. So, again, just a bonus warning, be careful. Not every email you should unsubscribe to. If an email looks suspicious or not obviously spammy, do not click unsubscribe. What you want to do is click the spam button. Some scammers are actually now using the unsubscribe button to actually activate and pull in your email address. So, again, be very careful. Mark it as spam, block the sender, and delete the message. Again, quick checklist, mark suspicious messages as spam, clear your cookies, I would say almost every 2 weeks if possible, review all your ad settings. Tim asked me a great question today. We talked about Facebook, was doing like you were logged on and then all of a sudden it pops back up and you're working fine because it went offline. They're constantly updating privacy settings and reviewing updating settings and systems within theirs. They're trying to protect because they're getting hacked too. So just be very careful and know that, you want to make sure that you're constant reviewing your privacy settings on any application that you're using. So my call to action to you this week is spend 10 minutes just cleaning up one area of your digital life, your inbox, your browser, and your ad settings. You will be happy and surprised that your emails will become much quieter, those digital pop-ups will become less, and you can start to enjoy a digital world just a little bit more. That's today's tech tip. You may not be able to eliminate every pop-up and every ad, but with just a few simple steps, you can definitely take some control of your life.
Wow. And as always, Shelley, just a great job. I'm looking across the table here, and Christopher and Major Sean are smiling, and they're nodding their heads, and they are just so in agreement. And Tim behind the glass actually was, in fact, nodding his head when you mentioned the DuckDuckGo.
Oh, no, the Brave browser. That's a great browser. You can use it on your phone. I have it on my laptop. It's very easy. And like she said, it has built-in ad blockers and all already installed. You don't have to do anything extra. It's great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, thanks for that tip. I thought you were
the DuckDuckGo is good too, but I'm familiar with the Brave.
We'll have to talk about that after
I'm
the
brave
show.
With the Brave.
There you go. Absolutely. Indeed. Well, Shelley, how do our listeners in Paul Ponders land get in touch with you, please?
Yes, they can reach us at info@podproentertainment.com.
Fabulous, fabulous. And I'll also be posting more tips on the PS&L Marketing Group blog. And also we look forward to maybe catching a future content reel from Techie Talonzo.
Yeah, we got him busy again this weekend working on those techie reels, so we're very excited to launch some new ones. I know you owe you some information for some new upcoming blogs, so we'll get that information out there.
It's all good in the hood, as they say, my friend. Well, Shelley, safe travels and enjoy the nature at its best out there in Kansas City, okay?
Sounds great. Thank you.
We'll catch up with you next week, God willing.
Looking forward to it.
Hashtag Indeed.
And hashtag Imagine.
Thanks, Shelley.
Thank you.
As Arthur Boyle says, it's not time to make the donuts, it's time to pay some bills. So let's hear from our sponsors.
Have you tried Bryanttville Pizza Kitchen? From antipasto to baked ziti, specialty gourmet burgers, over 30 different kinds of pizza, and that's steak and cheese. Come on in and they'll show you why they made a reputation as being the best steak and cheese sub in the area. There's nobody that puts it together like your friends at the Bryanttville Pizza Kitchen. Chicken wings and fingers and the famous flavors complement their stir-fry dinners. If subs and wraps aren't enough for your table tonight, expand into Greek and Caesar salads, maybe even a calzone. Anyway, it's all good at the Bryanttville Pizza Kitchen. And don't forget, invite them to your next catered event. They'll bring the food. Bryanttville Pizza Kitchen. Call them at 781-293-9857.
Are you looking for fencing and outdoor products? Look no further than Northeastern Fence and Supply Corporation of Saugus. When owner Mike Payne's customers have been asked why they chose Northeastern Fence, many said that there were 3 deciding factors: customer respect, excellent customer service, and quality products. I say that you need to add in 70-plus years of a family-run business with truly experienced sales and installation teams. So if you are in the market for fences for your kids, dogs, and ugly neighbors, please call Mike Payne and his crew at 781-233-3324 or email Mike at northeasternfence.com. What is your home doing to your health? How is the air quality in your home? You can breathe easier with Environmental Resources, an indoor air quality company you can count on, providing healthy solutions for your home or business. Environmental Resources specializes in mold inspections and testing for toxic type molds, mold removal assessments, musty odors, allergens, and excess moisture and dampness. Environmental Resources is a locally owned and established business for over 23 years, located in Hanover, Route 53. Call Environmental Resources today for solutions for a healthy home and healthy people. No mold, no allergens, no indoor pollution. Environmental Resources, 781-248-9975 at airenvironments.com. Again, that's Environmental Resources, 781-248-9975, airenvironments.com for better health. Andy Provatola.
Paul Ponders continues on 95.9 WATD. Once again, Paul Solano.
We are back, and thanks for listening to Paul Ponders on WATD, presented by Northeastern Fence and Supply Corporation of Saugus, where they have fences for your kids, dogs, and ugly neighbors. The call-in and text-in number here is 781-837-4900, and you could also find us on the Odyssey app. And if you like my daughter Ann in California, who's going to be visiting with Sarah and the kids next week or the week after, you're listening on the Odyssey app, and Chef Felipe back at Pearl Street Station Restaurant, and quite possibly to a new listener, Steve and Joanne, new listeners, Steve and Joanne up in Maine. I spoke to Steve today, and hopefully he's listening in on the Odyssey app. And a shout out to those nonprofits. You could reach me at paul@paulponders.com, and you could just send me a note, and we'll possibly feature you on a nonprofit, as we'll be hearing in about a minute or two in the next segment. But listeners can go to paulponders.com to find subscription links to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, as well as finding past Paul Ponders and WATD shows. This Sunday night, tomorrow night at midnight, I am dropping a podcast with Miss Wendy Lippy and Cliff Blake. They have a great production coming up at the Black Box Black Box Theater at the Boston Center for the Arts, and that's in the south end of Boston. And the director is one of the past stars of Wicked on Broadway, and her name is Julia Murney. And it's her Boston debut directing, and the name of the two-person play is Frankie and Johnny, and Claire de Luna. And you could go to the Psych Drama website for any ticket information. Well, at this point in the program, we usually have the segment of Health and Wellness Survival Tips with Ms. Sharon Filia. And Sharon cannot make it today because she's out there singing her heart away with two bands, actually, today. She's really just getting more and more singing gigs, so good for Sharon. And Sharon, next week we hope to pick up where you left off last week on your conversation about AI with part 2, and I think there's a part 3. And also a shout out, you can find Sharon's information on her YouTube channel, and that's the Filia Fall Prevention Method. So please check that out. But today in studio, I want to reintroduce friends Christopher Perry and Major Sean Keegan. Welcome back, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. It's really great to have you on. And I know you do so much in the Pembroke community. Christopher, you've headed up this project with the Pembroke Foundation, the Veterans Memorial Park Revitalization presentation, and Major Sean, I know you're on the working group, and also why don't you take it away and let's talk about this wonderful project you have planned.
All right. So what's happening is the Pembroke Veterans Memorial Park Revitalization Project was formulated, and the town created a working group to go ahead and make this happen. And I says, okay, how am I going to get this to do? How do I have the right people to go ahead and do that? And I instantly thought of the gentleman here to my left, Mr. Sean Keegan.
No, I'm blushing.
But, Sean being military, myself being military, it's very important to us, I would say collaboratively,
definitely,
that this project happen. This project originally was started back in 2018 and 19, and it kind of honestly just fell by the wayside. We don't need to go back and dwell on what happened then. We're just focusing on now and how we bring this forward. So we collaboratively put together the working group. We have members from the Select Board, Sean. We have members from the Planning Board, Memorial Committee. Dave McPhillips is the retired veterans agent. So we all collaboratively have our own little piece that we were able to put together. And now it's ready for the public presentation. And this will be at the Pembroke Community Center. We're very excited about that because of their digital audio automation that they have there. We'll be putting this presentation on. There'll be a full video of what the new layout is going to be. We'll talk about what the current conditions are, and then what the final project is going to be, what will look like. We're also very fortunate. The reason that we have selected this particular date is, I see you looking at the flyer, is we actually have our elected officials.
That's awesome.
To go ahead and show up to this. Senator Fernandez, whose schedule is obviously, he's a senator. If something isn't going to work out, that he can't be there specifically himself, but definitely a member of his staff will be. We have confirmation from our state reps, Kathleen Lenatra, and then obviously Ken Sweezy. All of our elected officials are very much involved in this and are extremely supportive of this. So it's really going to be a great presentation that we're going to be putting together.
The project's important for two reasons in my mind. One, we will do a much better job of honoring the men and women who served from Pembroke, who served this country. And it's also right in the heart of Pembroke Center, so it's going to a beautification of the town. It's really what Chris has put together. We did it as a group, but Chris spearheaded it. Is really a beautiful layout, and it's really going to look nice.
Without a doubt, and when I drive along, when I head over to Bryanville Pizza or I visit the Boyles, I'm traveling along the 139, I believe, and I see all the banners on the poles honoring the veterans in our heroes, and it just gives a sense of pride in the community, and that's really what it's all about.
It's nice to see on the South Shore, like the neighboring towns have done it too, so you see them everywhere, and it's nice that people don't forget.
Right, without a doubt. And really, this is about the community, and you have the state legislators who will be in attendance or their designees, and it's really a bipartisan type thing. It's about
absolutely.
Community, right?
Yeah, it is 100%, and putting this all together with this presentation, we're obviously very excited about it. One thing that's kind of separates this from everything else is that it's going to be self-sufficient. It'll have its own solar panels to go ahead and power for the irrigation system that will be put together for this. And as Sean mentioned earlier, you talk about remembrance. One of the things that has been overlooked in regards to this is actually before our country was a country, was the militia. Before the United States became the United States, you had militia from Pembroke going and fighting at Lexington and Concord. They actually blocked off the retreat of the British soldiers to Boston, and they were dispatched to those areas. And obviously, when you have a battle like this, you lose lives. But those lives have never been remembered in a central location here. So we're going to include that now with the rest of the modern day era of loss with the old era of loss. So it'll all be remembered in one central place.
As well as the Pembroke Resolves.
As well as the Pembroke Resolve, yes. So the Revolutionary Stone that is going to be created, there will be the Pembroke Resolves, which basically is, if people don't know, a little bit of their history. It was the letter that was written by John Turner that basically went to the King of England to say, we don't like you, and we want to be our own country. We want to do our own thing. And it was going ahead and created that. And it's actually a very famous document. And we're actually going to have it inlaid into the stone of the Revolutionary Stone. And one of the things that, I'm going to... I want to give a shout out to Marshfield, because they're actually the very first town to see a Revolutionary Stone that I have seen anywhere on the South Shore. I was really hoping for Pembroke to be the first. Unfortunately, Marshfield did beat us to it, but hopefully it won't be by very much. But shout out to Marshfield for remembrance of their Revolutionary heroes.
That's great. And if any representatives from that committee want to be on Paul Ponders, please reach out to me at paul@paulponders.com. And it's really it's so important just to really just showcase the local history and the importance of this area right here. Now, a quick question as we start to wind down about this event is, will this have a charitable, are you accepting donations?
Yes, we absolutely will be accepting donations.
Cool.
So that is the aspect of why the nonprofit, the Pembroke Foundation, again, we've talked about it in the past, but people aren't aware of it. The Pembroke Foundation is a nonprofit in Pembroke. It is 100% Pembroke driven. It is Pembroke helping Pembroke. All of the funds that are given from the community is spent back into the community. So it is Pembroke helping Pembroke.
Wow. When I think of what Dave Boyle has done, school committee chair Dave Boyle has done in the past with his fundraisers, for the Karen Boyle Scholarship Fund and all, just having some sort of wine night or whatever. I don't know. I don't know if there's anything on any upcoming docket or agenda, whatever. But it's one of those things that it's a fundraising idea, right?
Absolutely.
It's all about the nonprofit and just make it happen. Absolutely. And again, it's a community event.
Correct.
And you're doing all the right things.
I'd like to think so.
Absolutely. You are.
He's doing a great job.
Yeah, absolutely. And whatever, just to just go off subject just a bit, whatever happened with the lights for the field? Was that, how did that go?
So that event went very well.
Yes.
Pembroke Youth Baseball and Softball are still working with the insurance companies and things like that to go ahead and get that light taken care of. The funds were raised. I don't believe all of the funds were raised. I can't speak for Pembroke Youth Baseball and Softball in regards to that. I just know that we did our part for them, and now the rest is up to them to go ahead and finish that with the reconstruction of the lights and things like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for enlightening me with that update. Absolutely. And Major Sean, you're married to Kathleen, who I have only spoken to on the phone a few times. We played a little phone tag, but she had a really a great thing out there. I don't know if you have a soft opening or whatever on her newsletter or something like that.
Yeah, she's starting a newspaper for Pembroke. Yeah. And I'm drawing a blank on the name right now.
Pembroke Citizens Journal.
Thank you, Pembroke Citizens Journal. She's worked very hard for about 2 years trying to get this to come out. They've started. There is a website. You can go look at it at Pembroke Citizens Journal .com, I believe. But they're still trying to get it a little bit more robust. But it's there, and they're always looking for volunteers if anybody has some time to put into something like that.
Interesting. And she'll also, she may have a house to sell you at Kathleen Keegan Realty, right?
She's pretty good at that, yes.
Absolutely. And Alicia, past Paul Ponders guest, your wife
Absolutely.
Alicia, is doing well with her business?
She's doing very, very well with her business. Thank you for inquiring again, Paul. Thank you.
Absolutely, without a doubt. Well, gentlemen, how could people find out more about this wonderful presentation coming up on June 29th? Is there a website? What do you do?
So as of right now, everything is on Facebook. They can go to the Pembroke Foundation on Facebook if you wanted to go ahead and actually see the flyer, get the date, the information. Again, it's getting the community involved. And again, you don't have to be, again, putting this whole thing together, Kingston's committee, when they did their memorial park, was extremely helpful enough and with us in avoiding pitfalls. They basically they broke the ground for it and says, okay, you want to avoid this, you can avoid this, you can avoid this. So he said, okay, and they helped streamline it for us. That's why we were able to kind of get this done so quickly because they were so helpful to us. But again, the community of like Kingston, if you wanted to come see the presentation, by all means, we would love to have you. Or any other, Hanson, Marshfield, whatever. Please come enjoy, see what we're doing, see what it's going to be all about. We would love to have you.
That's great. Awesome. Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you both for being on in studio with me and all, and I wish you the best with this presentation. I'm sure it will go well.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And just stay in studio, and we'll hear from our sponsors, and then take it back with our next guest coming up, Paul Crowley. Paul, thanks for holding.
Have you tried Brianville Pizza Kitchen? From antipasto to baked ziti, specialty gourmet burgers, over 30 different kinds of pizza, and that steak and cheese. Come on in and they'll show you why they made a reputation as being the best steak and cheese sub in the area. There's nobody that puts it together like your friends at the Briantville Pizza Kitchen. Chicken wings and fingers and the famous flavors complement their stir-fry dinners. If subs and wraps aren't enough for your table tonight, expand into Greek and Caesar salads, maybe even a calzone. Anyway, it's all good at the Briantville Pizza Kitchen. And don't forget, invite them to your next catered event. They'll bring the food. Briantville Pizza Kitchen. Call them at 781-293-9857.
Are you looking for fencing and outdoor products? Look no further than Northeastern Fence and Supply Corporation of Saugus. When owner Mike Payne's customers have been asked why they chose Northeastern Fence, many said that there were 3 deciding factors: customer respect, excellent customer service, and quality products. I say that you need to add in 70-plus years of a family-run business with truly experienced sales and installation teams. So if you are in the market for fences for your kids, dogs, and ugly neighbors, please call Mike Payne and his crew at 781-233-3324 or email mike@northeasternfence.com. What is your home doing to your health? How is the air quality in your home? You can breathe easier with Environmental Resources, an indoor air quality company you can count on, providing healthy solutions for your home or business. Environmental Resources specializes in mold inspections and testing for toxic type molds, mold removal assessments, musty odors, allergens, and excess moisture and dampness. Environmental Resources is a locally owned and established business for over 23 years, located in Hanover, Route 53. Call Environmental Resources today for solutions for a healthy home and healthy people. No mold, no allergens, no indoor pollution. Environmental Resources, 781-248-9975 at airenvironments.com. Again, that's Environmental Resources, 781-248-9975, airenvironments.com for better health. Andy Provatola.
Paul Ponders continues on 95.9 WATD. Once again, Paul Solano.
We are back, and thanks for listening to Paul Ponders on WATD. The call-in number here is 781-837-4900. And again, thank you to my wonderful guests and friends, Mr. Christopher Perry and Major Sean Keegan, for a wonderful presentation. Well, at this point of the program, I have the financial wing of Olympic Proportion, sponsored by PS&L Marketing Group and Riverworks Credit Union, NMLS, number 410564, with Mr. Paul Crowley of Riverworks Credit Union and Olympian and former Boston Bruins winger Dave Jensen, Senior Loan Officer. And on the line, Mr. Paul Crowley. Welcome back, my friend.
Hi, Paul. Good afternoon. What a beautiful day.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, as they say.
Yeah, is it clear down there where you are?
Reasonably.
Up here in the North Shore, it's not a cloud in the sky.
I love it. You know, we're right by Marshall. Marshall is sometimes referenced as the Irish Riviera and all, but it's beautiful down here. I'm gonna have to take a trip over to the Brant Rock area, and I may go to Pembroke after this to hang out with the Boyles. But Mr. Paul Crowley, last week we talked about so many things, and really your experience throughout the years of working as a financial analyst and an accountant and mortgage broker, community activist is just really so important when people are looking to, in fact, secure a mortgage or buy a house, do whatever. And I believe I said in studio we have Mr. Christopher Perry, who's very active in the Pembroke community, as is Major Sean Keegan, whose wife, Kathleen, actually owns Kathleen Keegan Realty in Pembroke, I believe, right?
Correct.
Absolutely. So, Mr. Paul Crowley, take it away, my friend.
Sure. I thought I'd start by just talking a little bit about the changes from last week with respect to the 30-year mortgage rates, which is, I think, on a lot of people's minds, especially people looking to buy a home. Interestingly enough, I guess it's probably better to say there was no change week over week. The rates dangled right around the 6.5% for the 30-year mortgage. That was primarily due to it's always driven by the 10-year Treasury yield. So the Treasury yield remained unchanged pretty much for the week too. So that shows that the real estate market and the 30-year mortgage rates are kind of hanging around at that 6.5%. You know, there's probably a couple of other reasons why inflation continues to be a sore spot, and the supply and demand for mortgage-backed securities kind of keeps that price up. And then when you factor in that on Tuesday, I believe, of next week, the Fed Open Market Committee is going to meet again, and then we'll, get some indications about what they're going to do next, whether they're going to raise rates, lower rates, leave them the same, and what the tea leaves bring to the table for the coming 6 months. So, in summary, interest rates have remained unchanged. So for people who are looking for real estate around here, you figure, okay, what's the impact on me as a potential buyer on those rates? So first of all, that rate is what it is, and when you if you put 20% down, if you put 5% down, your mortgage, your monthly payment is kind of, let's say, etched in stone at this point. So now you have to back into what you can actually afford, and when you do that, and then you compare it to the real estate prices year over year, you start saying, "Oh my, are real estate values increasing? Are they increasing sharply? Are they decreasing? Are they staying flat?" Truth of the matter is, if you've got a nice home, move-in condition type home, in a good neighborhood, doesn't matter. People are buying them; they're snapping them right up. If they're not priced properly, or if they need work, they tend to sit on the market longer. So the supply is better, but not sufficient enough to offset the impact of the high interest rates. So that's just kind of an overview of how that all plays out, at least in my view.
Interesting. Christopher across the table works in the world at his wife's firm, Design Build.
Design Build, correct.
So what are you seeing out there, Christopher?
What we're seeing now is a lot of people are not necessarily looking for obviously they're looking for new homes, but new homes are just, as we just said a moment ago, they're just very expensive. So they're trying to modify their existing home, whether they're putting on an ADU or putting on an addition to create more room. We actually just met with a really awesome couple 2 nights ago, and they had said to us, the kids are getting bigger. So we're running out of room, so they wanted to go ahead and do that. But interestingly enough, they weren't sure of whether to go for a HELOC, whether to go for a second mortgage, do a construction loan, then roll it into a mortgage. Those are all things that we could go ahead and discuss.
So Paul Crowley, are you seeing a lot of that with people who are coming to your office or calling you?
Yes. So our crack HELOC specialist, Jerry Dorr, has been buried with HELOC application requests. And, I often like to pick his brain because what the people do with the money is very telling. And if they're using it to consolidate debt, get rid of credit card debt and stuff like that, I get a little nervous because then some people just tend to go out and run up the credit cards again. But if they're doing what you just suggested, which is using that money to do renovations and maybe additions like the accessory dwellings and so forth, that's what you want to see in terms of seeing the economic environment advancing in a positive way. Jerry's response was that while there is some of the consolidation, most of it is just, in fact, people wanting to, take their existing house and do something with the proceeds to expand or just improve their existing property. And by the way, some people are actually doing that because they want to sell their house and it needs a lot of work. And all of the vultures are swooping in and offering lowball prices, and they figure that the only way they can get a price that they can accept would be to spend some money in the property. So those are the kinds of things that I'm seeing.
Interesting. So, Paul, in the last minute and a half, 2 minutes that we have left in the segment, how do our listeners in Paul Ponder's land reach out to you?
Well, I'm always available by cell phone. Tim was able to find me like he always does at 781-513-3721. And you can call our main office of Riverworks Credit Union. We have offices in Lynn, Linfield, and Dorchester. And if you call any one of those offices, they can connect me if I'm around. Better to use the cell phone because that catches me while I'm on the road.
Right, exactly. And Major Sean, do you have any questions? I know you and your wife, Kathleen Keegan, often speak about real estate. Do you have any insight or any thoughts?
Well, I don't have any questions, and I'm not in this world, but I am adjacent, as you said, because of my wife. And I can tell you that the market is really booming right now. My wife is extremely busy, so despite rates and things like that, people are still out there buying houses.
They sure are.
Absolutely, and you're just sitting down with them, using your past experience and your analytical nature, and just making it happen for so many people, Paul Crowley.
Yeah, well, I try. Whatever we can do to help.
Absolutely, it's what we do. Well, Paul Crowley, I thank you, my friend, for being on again on the financial wing of Olympic Proportion, sponsored by PS&All Marketing Group and Riverworks Credit Union, NMLS number 410564. So until we meet again, hopefully next week, my friend, you be well.
Thank you, Paul. My pleasure.
Thank you. Have a great rest of the weekend. Enjoy that North Shore beautiful weather.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, my friend. Thank you. Yes, so, gentlemen, it's really just something how the market really is booming down here in the South Shore.
It is.
It's really happening.
Yeah.
It's happening.
It's good for me.
Absolutely. Right. Exactly. So one final plug, shout out before we wind down. Got 10 seconds.
Yeah, we have to come to the Veterans presentation, Veterans Memorial Park, revitalization, Monday, June 29th, 7 p.m., Pembroke Community Center.
Love to see you there.
Yep. Absolutely. We're yell, punch, buggy, don't punch back. There we go. I love it. So that's great. Well, I want our listeners to stay tuned to WATD with the memories with Ron Dwyer. Ron, you are a grand poobah of musical memories. Listeners can go to paulponders.com to find subscription links to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, as well as finding past Paul Ponders and WATD shows. Thanks again to Tim, Arthur, Shelley, Christopher, Major Sean, Paul Crowley, and our advertisers. But really, thank you, listeners in WATD world and beyond. Here's to a continued great season number 2 and beyond. Keep Paul pondering. Happy birthday, David Boyle. #Indeed.